And I thought of this funny joke. I said, I don't really like honeydews much, but they sure must be my wife's favorite fruit. You know honeydews, everybody? I'm just joking. I do like honeydews. Yeah, she likes honeydews. Sometimes it gets kind of frustrating, you know. Sometimes she's like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I'm like, I haven't even finished the first thing yet, right? But when you have a mind of being a servant, being asked to do something shouldn't be a bother. Amen? It shouldn't bother you. And so sometimes I have to check my attitude. Amen? And sometimes we have to check our attitude when it comes to service to God as well. Because that's why we're here, folks, to serve. Amen? That's why we're here. He wants us to actively bear tasteable fruit, tangible fruit. Amen? That can be observed, that can be seen, and noticed not only by God, but others as well. Amen? And I have this cool thing that happened last week. The other day, my son James randomly said, Dad, do you remember when you told me never to spit in the garage again? Let me just preface this. So when we started baseball, he would see me spitting in the backyard. And he thought that's just a part of baseball. You know, you just got to spit. He would see other people spit. He's like, you just have to spit. So he was walking around everywhere just spitting. And he did it in the garage one day. And I said, James, don't ever do that again. And he said, Dad, I never did it again. So he told me this the other day. This has been about a year and a half, I'd say, you know. And I just thought it was so funny just for him to consciously think of that to tell me, right? It was just a random thing. He's like, Dad, you remember? And I was like, yeah. But he had it in his little heart to confirm he has honored my word. He was obedient. And he didn't do the thing that I asked him not to do. He didn't do it. Amen? And it did warm my heart. And, you know, he had that much care to tell me he was being obedient to me and that he was being faithful. Now, may that same heart be in us today as well, that we have a desire to do the thing God told us to do and to not do the thing He told us not to do. Amen? Let us be found faithful and obedient in the same way. Amen? That we can consciously say to God, you remember that thing you told me not to do? I haven't done it. Whew. There's something beautiful about that. Amen? And let the fruit that we produce be faithful and available and tasteable to God at any moment. Amen? And that's the thing about faithfulness. We never know when our Master's coming. We never know when He's going to say, I require this thing of you that I've asked. So we should always have a mind to want to do it at all times. Amen? We should always be found worthy and capable at all times. Now, Brill also did something cool, and it went along with the same type of theme. I asked her this past week, if she would give her brother a Lunchable. Then a few minutes later, I guess I had forgot. For whatever reason, I'm kind of forgetful this week. But a few minutes later, I forgot, and I said, James, go get you a Lunchable real quick. And Braille said from the other room, Dad, I gave him the Lunchable. I wouldn't disobey you. Another heartwarming thing to hear from your kids. Those thoughts of, I don't want to disobey. I don't want to go against what you've asked me to do. I want to be found faithful. I want to be recognized as obedient. Amen? Braille, I see you sitting right there. May that be in us as well. And it pertains to God in all areas. Amen? I want to be found obedient. I want to be found faithful. But that desire has to be in you. Nobody can put it in there. Nobody can inject you with something in a syringe and say, oh, now you're going to be faithful. God can't just download it in your brain. You have to want that. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can make you. You have to have that desire in there. And I don't know about you, but every time I think about what Jesus did for me, that drives me to faithfulness. that drives me to obedience. When I think about what he literally suffered for us, suffered. It wasn't an easy bullet to the head and it's over. No, he had to endure, folks. And when you really study out the tortures of Christ, what he actually had to go through for your sin and my sin, that should drive you to faithfulness. That should drive you to, I want to be obedient every day of my life, 24/7. I want to live this thing. I don't want to be fake. I want to be a real Christian like you called me to be. And I want to have some tasteable fruit that you can come to this tree, because believe it or not, he refers to us as trees over and over in the Bible. I want him to be able to come to this tree and pick any fruit he wants off of and say, man, that fruit was delicious. Amen? I cut into a watermelon yesterday. Probably in the top 5 worst watermelons I've ever had. 0 flavor. The kids liked it, which was awesome, to see them not complain. But I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be like, man, try this watermelon, it's so good. Because it wasn't. It was 0 flavor. I picked a bad one. And I don't want God to come to me and be like, you know what, there's 0 flavor there. 0 flavor. There's no nutritional value there. Or even worse, that fruit is rotten. That is diseased. I don't want anything to do with that fruit. Here's another bad one. There's no fruit on this tree at all. There's nothing there. I don't want that to be me. When my God comes back to me, I want him to say, man, that is a tree flourishing. That is a tree that has fruit all over it. That is a tree that I can rely on. That's what we should have in us, that desire to be that. Amen? Because that's what he is to us. He is reliable, isn't he? Anytime you need something, you go to him, don't you? You should anyways. If you don't yet, make that a habit, folks. Anytime you need something, even the little things, we're constantly running back to him because he's our source of all things. Amen?